you. Yes. Thank you, Scott.
Oh,
And you have a beautiful voice.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's perfect because it's yours.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, good morning. Good morning. Oh, I'm really honored to be here. And I'm really inspired by your commitment to live your life and to be part of this community. Because my life has become the life that I was born to live because of spiritual community, because of unity communities. And so I'm always in such honor to be part of this awakening. I'm really moved by, I tell you, this is what's so great about life, is there's always something new to learn. You know, can we say I'm a lifelong learner? I'm a lifelong learner, right? And I have never been to a service that you all are sharing at such an authentic and transparent and, yes, naked level. This is amazing. So let's just breathe into this authenticity that you all have committed to create in your own life. So the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk to blossom. That day came that the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk to blossom. So this is our opportunity every day. Is this the day that you're committed to stay tight in that bud with the fear and the doubt and the worry, or the opportunity that we all have every day to blossom? And here we are in spring, and we are natural beings, and nature is reminding us that the blossom is our life, and it's always available to us. So I wonder how we'd live if we knew we had nothing to hide. I wonder how we'd live if we were living in that state of just knowing that blossoming was our purpose, and it was the essence of who we are, and that we didn't have to hide at all in life. I wonder how that would feel. And because we're so unaware of how we're hiding, that's why we come to communities like this, to let people love us, and as we're learning to love ourselves. And we're learning that we can say what we say here, as you all have said, and no one runs out of the room going, oh my gosh, that person's weird. They're coming, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing, you know, the place that may feel hidden to you, so we can see it and we can love you as you learn to love yourself. See, the reason that we can't see where we're hiding is because they're blind spots, right? And because we can't see, that's why they call them blind spots, because they're part of our life that we can't see. So we come into community so we can see more of who we are and then live from that place of awakening. So I've got a few questions for you all. Would you like to be able to ask for what you want without worrying about being rejected?
Yes.
All right. Would you like to be able to make empowering and clear decisions without worrying about the opinions of others?
Yes.
All right. Would you like to know that you were born for greatness?
Yes.
Or would you like to be free to be who you are?
Yes.
All right. So, you all, I knew I was with an involved group. And so, we are here to be more authentic and more transparent and more naked. And if that word naked feels a little weird, I just have a question for you. Was anyone out there not born naked? I'm just checking, right? Because we were all born in this form of this beautiful child, full of possibility and purpose and potentiality, and we were all there, right? And think of a child in your life or a baby. What would we call out some qualities of a child or a baby that you're innocent, beautiful, pure, spontaneous,
Wondrous.
naked. Somebody say
Wondrous.
wondrous,
Yeah, interested.
interested,
Curious.
Curious. I love that word, curious.
Precious.
Precious.
Big commitment.
To have the child, and also a big commitment to be here on this planet.
Great
Right.
expectations.
Great expectations.
Expecting to be fed.
There you go. It's like I say in a lot of the prosperity classes that I facilitate, I'm the bomb. Right? Can we say that together? I'm the bomb. Right? And we come into this world absolutely expecting people to take care of us, people to be there for us, having our opinion, the way we see the world is absolutely perfect. And so what's happened? Yes, well, let's say that we started to do what I call the cover-up. All right, we start to take on stories of the people in our culture, in our religion, in our family, in our school. And guess what? Those opinions and beliefs were just passed around down by other people's opinions. So we have to really ask ourselves, is any of that true? You know, are we living in the lie? Are we living in the eye? Are we living in the bud? Are we living in the blossom? And I really am so honored by each of you sharing, because it does take a risk to move from the bud to the blossom. Now, this didn't start yesterday, right? Part of the workshop will be called In the Beginning. In the Beginning. If we look at our Bible metaphysically, there were two characters, male and female, and what were their names? Adam and Eve. Okay, so Adam and Eve were living in this Garden of Eden that I'd like to say was where we were all living when we came onto this planet, as this child with all these beautiful characteristics. And then they were tempted, as life will tempt us, really, I think, give us the opportunity to contrast who we really are and who we're not. And they ate from this tree of knowledge. But that tree of knowledge was about right and wrong, good and bad, black and white, male and female. And then there started to become this separation. And all of a sudden, I am not in oneness. It's you and it's me. It's how I now judge myself and how I now judge you. And because of this break in our knowing of oneness, these two hid out in the brush. And then infinite intelligence, the God, comes and says, where are you two? What's going on? And Adam, hiding out, right, said, well, we're here in the bushes. We're here in the brush. And God says, well, so why are you hiding out? And Adam says, because I'm naked. And God says, who told you you were naked? You know, who told you something was wrong with you? Where did we get this cover up? And I will tell you, and we've got to know that anyone that told you anything was wrong with you felt something was wrong with them. See, there's no bad people. There's a lot of people that just don't know who they are. They don't feel in God we trust. They don't feel like the world is a safe place to be. And so we've taken on those lies. And the most important thing that we all get to learn is, what are those lies? You know, you can't heal anything until you can see it. So part of the naked journey, the authentic journey, is it comes in many parts, a few parts, not many. We go from our sense of really not knowing what it is, that's the story that we're keeping. You know, it can be fear just running our story. And then we start to be things becoming more known to us. We start having a little bit more of an awakening, and we may not know what to do yet. Then we're coming to this place of we're ready to take some action, and finally it starts to become a way of life, this change that is life. So when we look at what is unknown, I know when I first came into a Unity church 30 years ago, I had a lot of unknown going on. And I felt very afraid because I'd been in religious centers where they told me how to live and told me how to be and told me how I should act. And I became a human doing rather than a human being. Can y'all relate? But then I came into Unity, and they weren't telling me how to live. They were telling me I had all the answers in me. How could that possibly be? I was pretty empty. You know, I didn't know who I was. And it was a very strange experience going from the cover-up to being so exposed. Can y'all relate? Yeah, and so, you know, the idea that with Adam and Eve and all this cover-up, my big question that will be for today is, what's your fig leaf? You know, where do you cover yourself up? And what is that story? And we have to know that there is a risk involved. So are we willing to risk to be happy? Yes. Are we willing to risk to know ourselves? Yes. Because it is a risk. You know, to start coming to a place where you are the bomb and you are the blossom and you are the answer. I would imagine in most families, that may be a whole different conversation. You know, maybe a whole different conversation with your friends of ain't life awful, right? And so this is a weird thing at first, and it feels very strange until this starts to become a way of life. So we're looking at coming from this unknown to a place of known. And I'd just like to share a story with you. I spent the early part of my life, because I really didn't know who I was. My family was a very cerebral group of people, had a lot of letters before and after their name, and really bright people, and congratulations on your doctorate. I know I have, and it's great. Nothing is wrong with anything, but we must know the knowledge of the inside as much as our knowledge from the outside. And so my quest, always in my life, has been spiritual awakening. And to understand myself better and understand other people better. It's just always been something that I've been very passionate about. And my family thought that was just really goofy. So I started to think it was really goofy. And I ended up, when I was going to college, today I probably would have studied something about communication or therapy or something like that. But I was really good in math, and my father told me that the way to make money, I was the oldest child, was to study business. Anybody that knows me today would think, are you kidding? But I went to college, and I was in a business plan, and I had migraines for 4 years, and I found a lot of solace in another spiritual arena, which was called Spirit in a Bottle. Anybody know about that? All right, so I spent a lot of years going to school, I suppose, and being quite inebriated with my spirit in the bottle. And it took me a while to understand that that really wasn't a healthy way to live. It was perfectly normal to me that if you're in pain, you snuff it out. You don't deal with it. I mean, who's there to talk to? Because I'd never found a community like this. And so it was a very lonely time. It was a very dangerous time, because I was not only drinking and studying, I was drinking and driving. Right, so I had this very weird life that maybe you can relate to before I came into a community that talked about oneness, which was I had this sort of person I thought the world needed me to be, and I had this person that was really afraid and alone and sad, and the only way I had any kind of relief from that was to get drunk. So this system wasn't working very well. It really wasn't working very well. And because the universe really wants us to wake up, as God was saying to Adam, where are you? Why are you hiding out? I didn't know I was hiding out. And because the universe loves us so much, you'll recognize that what happens is you start getting wake-up calls. Y'all had a few of those? Because we do this in the beginning, and then we start looking at how we're asleep, and then we start ending up with these wake-up calls. And if we don't listen to the universe saying, you're more than this, or you really have a great purpose on the planet. You have value, you always have, just by being you, like this beautiful song was. You start getting taps on the shoulders, and then pretty soon, I know we've all heard about the cosmic 2x4. All right, so Palm Sunday, 10 years into this lifestyle, I was arrested. And I would like to say it was 29 years ago and not last week. So, all right. So 29 years ago, I was arrested. And I was in this jail cell. And I will tell you, because of this cover-up I don't know how to live without drinking. I don't know how to live without not liking myself. I don't know how to live in any sense of freedom. It was a very interesting situation, because I was in that jail cell. Now I go to silent retreats, but it was my first silent retreat. Right? Yeah. So I was in this jail cell, and I thought, my first thought was my girlfriend talked me into driving. Okay, that was about as evolved as I could get. Then it was the police just don't like me. They're just always picking on me. And then I started thinking about just how my parents had been so mean to me, and life was so challenging for me, and this was the beginning of starting to even listen to what was going on in my mind. And because I had the beauty of being there overnight and the whole next day, it started to occur to me that the person in that cell was me. And no one else was around. And it started to occur to me that perhaps this had something to do with me. It was just a glimmer. And it was a very brief glimmer. And I would love to tell you that after that day, I didn't drink any more alcohol, but that really wasn't the case. It was, in fact, then I got very secretive. But because of a probation program that I was put in, that was actually run by a man that had 10 years of sobriety. And I thought, there's no way this guy has 10 years of sobriety. He's up there just lying to us all. But he explained this disease called alcoholism. And alcoholism for me is another word of how we do our cover-up. You know, he explained the idea that I wasn't a bad person, I was a sick person. I was a person that was sick in my mind and sick in my heart from really not allowing this beauty that was me to be lived. And so I wept, and I wept as I often do at Unity services, because I was grieving for the life I hadn't let myself live. And because of that kind of community, that then they invited me to go to AA, and I found myself just accepted for who I was. And that was such a weird feeling, because I didn't know who I was. I had never lived in a state of nakedness and of risking and of choice and of choosing and of feeling like I had the right to ask for what I wanted. And so that community helped me know that I had value. And a very short time after that, I started going to a Unity. It was in Austin, Texas. And that is how my healing started happening. And as I have been on this journey of, really one day at a time, becoming a lifelong learner, what has happened is I've become more free and more free and more free to be who I am. And have you noticed that there's not a destination to this journey? It's just the constant willingness to show up for it. Show up for your awakening. Show up to say the thing. And I loved how Teresa said, I was going to say something, but everybody just said what I needed to say. Because we are in one mind. And the thing I think I've probably become the most clear about on this journey is that I am not alone. And everyone's journey is my journey. And everyone's fear is my fear. And everyone's joy is my joy. And that's why these quotes from these beautiful people, the risk to stay in the bud or the risk to blossom, we can all relate to that. And I love knowing that I get to choose my family today. And I love my biological family, and I'm grateful they brought me here, but I can talk to people in my spiritual family, and they can talk to me. And that's why today I can go into any situation and just be alive. I can be who I am, and you don't have to like me for me to be who I am. Whew. Man, that was a lot of work, right? I need you to like me so I can be who I am. It's kind of like I take your temperature to figure out how I'm feeling. It's just a bad system. I know my very good friend Greg Tamblyn writes a song that's called It's Never Too Late to Have a Happy Childhood. And it's not. And he also talks about the idea of let's get rid of these the codependent top 10 that end up with a lot of our songs saying, I can't live, if living is without you. Well, you may get sick or go away or move to Alaska, and then what do? I go on living. So, how do we live if we have nothing to hide? How do I live if I don't have to prove anything in the world? It's a very scary situation, because we have to learn that there is value in me just because I'm breathing. There's value in me because I'm on this planet. There's value in me by learning what I do love and what doesn't work for me. And a great sentence, a whole sentence, is the word no. That was a hard one for me to learn. But this place of really self-care is a tremendous journey. And then all those words about the child, as you all said, become your way of life. Curious, excited, in wonder, innocent, a huge commitment to your own life on this planet. And you get to be the child that you were born to be. Jesus told us it's like that. We must become like little children to inherit this kingdom. So we want to look at the ways we're hiding out, the ways we're covering up, and then we really want to take some action. My action was, attending Unity and getting involved and looking at the ways that I was of service, could be of service in the world, rather than just being in this place of life sucks and what am I going to do about it, right? So what am I not going to do about it? So I'd like to read a reading that has been important to me, and I'd love you to close your eyes for a moment to take this in, because this reading is called If Not For You. And in listening to this reading, I'd like you to consider, not only is it important for you to live nakedly and authentically and transparently, but we also must focus on this great value that we bring. If not for you, all the good, that you have done would still need doing. If not for you, the spark of your ideas would not have ignited a fire in others. If not for you, the key role that you've played in life would remain unfilled. If not for you, at least one person would not have awakened to his or her dreams. If not for you, your triumphs could not be examples to inspire others. If not for you, the song of life would have missed a beat. If not for you, your gifts would remain ungiven. If not for you, someone would have no example to follow. If not for you, someone who needed love would not have received it. If not for you, there would be one less smile, one less laugh, one less hug. If not for you, an animal might be homeless and a garden left unplanted. If not for you, something would be missing. You have always made a difference. Who you are is important. You are the face, the heart, the soul, and the expression of God. And let's breathe into the wonderment of that. You can just open your eyes and recognize how important it is that you're here. I'd encourage all of us to keep a picture of you as the little person, the 2 or 3-year-old that you were, right around so you can recognize the importance of you. And we would never be unkind to that child. And we would always want to say, you have such great value and purpose. And so if you'd like to not stay in that bud and be willing to blossom, come be with us this afternoon, and we will continue to strip off those fig leaves and take off those stories. I'd like to close with one great story about my nephew. I called my brother one day, who has 2 little kids, and he was very busy. I could hear all this noise, and I said, Kurt, do you have a moment to talk? And he said, well, yeah, just a minute. And then I hear him say, Camden, come back, Camden, who's my nephew. And I said, what happened? And he said, the ice cream truck just rode by, and Camden's running down the street with his piggyback under his arm. And I just thought, that is so cool, because when we live nakedly, when we live authentically, we just run after whatever we want with all of our treasure in our arms and just saying, I want that ice cream. It just grabbed me up, and I had to ask, what's my ice cream truck? So not only what's my fig leaf that I want to take off, but what is the thing that makes my heart sing? Because when we know how valuable we are, we know that it is absolutely my spiritual responsibility to follow my dreams. So I'm so grateful to be with all you amazing souls that have such great purpose on this planet. And let us blossom and take that risk to be who we are. God bless you.
Thank you.